But first, let's bring back passenger Paul Haber. He's here to tell us about the gym the morning George Smith disappeared. You say, hey, why is the gym important? It's because for the first several weeks after George's disappearance, we heard time and time again that the wife wasn't there the next morning, didn't notice his disappearance because she had left early to go work out in the gym. Well, we started hearing stories about how she was passed out and possibly drugged 2 stories up from where her husband had gone missing. And now we bring in Paul Haber, who, Paul, I understand you were in the gym for a good while that morning that George Smith IV disappeared. And tell me, did you ever see his wife up there?
Well, I was in the ship's gym early in the morning, pretty much when we arrived in the port the morning of July 5th into Kusadasi. And, you know, I guess I'm one of those few people willing to get up early in the morning for a workout during a cruise. But there are, as I said, few people that are in the gym at that time of day. The gym opens around 6 o'clock in the morning, and I recall being there shortly thereafter. And I don't recall seeing Mrs. Smith in the gym during the time that I was there. Like I said, there were very few people working out at the time. And I think after having seen her photo and photos of her, I think I would have recalled seeing her there.
Yeah, I certainly think you would have also, Paul. Paul, stand by. I want to go to Mary Folds-Needy now. Mary, help clear this up for me. It just doesn't make sense. Why would the cruise lines release a statement saying she was up in the gym early that morning, casting suspicion on her, and then we find out 3, 4, 5 weeks later that she may have been drugged and was possibly passed out and certainly was in no condition to be up in the gym, which, of course, if that had just been said early on, a lot of people wouldn't have been so suspicious of her activities that night and the following morning.
Yeah, you know, Joe, that is clearly the problem with leaks in rumors and investigations, which inevitably occur, especially in high-profile investigations. Everyone's clamoring to get any piece of information or evidence, and unfortunately, sometimes the sources and the information that we receive is not completely accurate. So I think that's just fallen into that sort of pit hole. But I am sort of curious as to really what did occur with her, because I don't think we've gotten a very clear picture of where she was. There seems to be a lot of inconsistencies. The cruise members seem to, at least from some news reports, seems to have suggested that she was in the room before they brought him back that evening. Then we've heard other accounts that she was passed out on, you know, another story upstairs, and then other accounts of the next morning that she was in the gym. So I'm certain, though, she's probably been debriefed thoroughly by the prosecutors at this point, and they know at least what her story is with regard to her whereabouts.
All right, Mary, thank you. Let's bring in Charles Lipcon right now. He's a maritime attorney. Charles, and by the way, we just have to clarify this. A cruise line released a statement. Then we read in the Associated Press a report that she had been in the gym the next morning. And then we just found out last night somebody came on and gave us exclusive information that investigators had been told that she was taken back to the room before her husband was taken back by crew members. Now, Charles, let me bring you in. That's a perfect segue. Talk about crew members for a second. This Turkish investigation that we ran came up with the fact that crew members from this ship had brought Mr. Smith back to his room around 3:30. You complain that a lot of times crimes go on these type of ships. Are crew members usually suspects when something goes wrong?
Well, they're frequently involved. You know, that story about the gym, that's classic disinformation. In these kind of situations, all kinds of false stories are given out to throw people off the track.
Why is that?
Well, they want to blame the victim. They make it tougher on the victim. It makes it harder to figure out what really happened. I mean, from day one, I had my own theory about this case, which I've presented, and all of the facts that are coming out now fit exactly into that theory. Crew members.
And you base this theory on all the information that you've had working these cases for such a long time. Talk about your theory. What happened that night?
Well, my theory is that she and her husband were drugged, maybe by the crew, taken back to the cabin. She was assaulted. The husband came to. He was a witness. They killed him and tossed him over the side. That's what I think happened based on all the information that I've learned, and that fits a pattern that I've seen over a good number of cases. So, yeah.
Talk about that pattern.
Well, the pattern is the crew know that there are no ramifications for sexually assaulting passengers except maybe they get fired. That's if they're caught. And by using these date rape drugs, the victims many times don't even know what happened. So crew members know that, I said before on your show, they know it's open season on the high seas. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And the other thing that you'll find is, I mean, you mentioned earlier that some crew members had been questioned by the authorities. The cruise line will create a lockdown of information, instruct all crew members not to discuss the matter. So it will be very hard for anybody to get information out of them. And if they talk and they bring up something that's harmful to the company, they get sent home on a permanent vacation. They all know.
I'll tell you what, it's certainly frightening, Charles. Everything that you're telling us. I appreciate you being with us and telling us your take on it, Charles Lipcon, Paul Haber, Mary Fulginiti. We appreciate it. We're going to be following this story all next week. News is breaking fast over the past week and a half. Our investigation has shed a lot of light on what really went on that night. We're going to keep after it. Plus, we had a lot more to come tonight. Coming up.